A new look at 2025 crime trends suggests violent crime, including murder, plummeted in many parts of the country this year.
America does not have a gun problem, and the data just slipped up and told the truth. Before anyone starts screaming in the comment section, let's ground this in fact. Not vibes, not feelings, facts. Watch this.
But a new report shows violent crime, particularly murders, are falling fast, with the U.S. on pace for its largest single-year drop in the number of homicides ever.
The largest single-year drop in homicides ever. That's not a spin, that's not political messaging, that is raw data. Now, let's keep going.
The Real-Time Crime Index, which compiles data from more than 500 police departments around America, shows murders down about 20% compared with 2024.
Murders down 20%. Now, here's where the narrative starts to fall apart, because this is happening while America is more armed than it has ever been in its entire history. More guns, more legal gun owners, more first-time buyers. That combination is not supposed to produce less crime, at least not according to the people who keep telling you America has a gun problem. Not long ago, I put up a post on X saying the US doesn't have a gun problem. I pointed out that we're talking about roughly 18,000 annual gun homicides, which is about 0.006% of the population, and that 60 to 80% of that 18,000 are tied to gang and drug violence, and that less than half of 1% are mass shootings, and people lost their minds. You'd have thought I insulted Santa Claus. America's awash with guns, guns everywhere. This is dangerous. Yeah, that's literally the point. It's called the Second Amendment. But let's keep watching the data.
That's on pace for what would be the sharpest single-year drop in murders the country has ever seen. A separate mid-year snapshot from the Council on Criminal Justice found homicides were down on average across a sample of major cities. Chicago down nearly 28, and New Orleans and Los Angeles also saw significant drops.
Chicago, Los Angeles, New Orleans, these are the same cities constantly used as proof that America supposedly has a gun problem, and yet violent crime is going down. Now, to be fair, the report adds an important caveat.
And if you're looking for a simple political "who did this" answer, Axios says there's no definitive evidence linking a 2025 drop to any one federal policy.
And that's fair. All the numbers aren't in yet. I'm the first person to say context matters. But here's the question nobody wants to answer. If guns were the problem, if lawful gun ownership caused violence, how is this even possible? Because statistically, this trend should not exist. With the number of firearms in civilian hands, murder should be exploding, not collapsing. And yet, here we are. That's the uncomfortable part. And it gets even more uncomfortable when you add one more piece of context. But before we go there, let me touch on something that ties directly into this conversation. You see, when we talk about the Second Amendment, people completely misunderstand the Second Amendment. You hear people say things like, when the Second Amendment was written, it was about the militia, not you. And it's like, wait a minute. The militia is you. The militia is us. The militia is the people. The Second Amendment was written so the people had their own firearms to come together to fight back against tyranny, whether that tyranny came from a foreign government or a criminal in the night, or yes, even your own government, if it ever went that far. Because how exactly are you supposed to fight back against a tyrannical government if you've already given them the power to disarm you? That doesn't make any sense. We spent way too much time trying to contract out our safety to the government and forgetting that we are our own first responders. We are our own first militia. That's what I am the militia represents. It's a reminder that people in this country still have power. And we've got the I am the militia design on hats, hoodies, drinkware, sweatshirts, you name it, we got it. I'll put a link in the description section for you to click and check those out. And if you're on a mobile or desktop, you'll see the products kind of right below me here somewhere. You'll see. And while you're training and practicing, don't forget the AKT1 blackouts. They're my favorite wireless Bluetooth in-ear hearing protection. I call them the AirPods for shooters. You can listen to music, take phone calls. It has hearing enhancement and automatic protection when shots go off. So I'm gonna put a link in the description section so you can check that out, or you can click the image here down below in this video as you're watching it now. Now, here's where context matters, because people hear gun deaths and immediately think murder. That's not reality. Over 60% of gun deaths are self-deletions. Only a fraction are homicides, and an even smaller fraction are mass shootings. That distinction matters because policy built on emotion instead of context leads to bad decisions. Now let's talk about something else that never gets mentioned. defensive gun use. Even anti-gun groups admit that on the low end, about 60,000 Americans use firearms every year to defend themselves. And on the high end, that number reaches into the millions. But let's say even if only 60,000 people use a gun in self-defense every year, that's still over 3 times more defensive gun use than criminal killings. Which brings us to the part people really don't want to talk about. Since 2020, gun ownership in America has exploded. And this isn't my opinion. This is straight from the industry data. According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, and I'm quoting word for word here, that's right, approximately 26.2 million law-abiding Americans from all different races, genders, backgrounds, religions, and ethnicities went to their local firearm retailer and bought a gun for the first time between 2020 and today. That's not spin, that's not framing, that's a fact. So let's put this together, shall we? More guns, more first-time gun owners, more training, more legal ownership, and at the same time, murders are dropping, violent crime is dropping, carjackings, robberies, assaults, all dropping. If America truly had a gun problem, this would be impossible. Look overseas. The UK is dealing with rising violent crime without guns. We're dealing with falling violent crime with them. The math doesn't line up with the narrative. Now, could these numbers change once all the data comes in? Absolutely. And if it flips, I'll own it. But right now, the trend is clear. America doesn't have a gun problem. America has a context problem, and people refuse to deal with it honestly. One thing's for certain and 2 things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now, you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together, we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.